Hello everybody, the microphone is now working. Welcome to Let's Build live from Oak Hill Works. How are we all doing? I hope you are okay. And look at us with some nice modern 3D printed stuff, and very much not like the old ways, James. Still waiting to put volume 1, maybe by next week. Hopefully it arrives soon. It's a very good book, Javier. You need volume 2 as well. And 3 and 4 whilst you're at it. No, no one has paid me to say that. Why would you ask? So yes, an O-Class. I've been after one of these for a while, and finally I have one. This is, in theory, not too bad of a kit to build, because it sits on this chassis, which is the Oxford Dean Goods. Where's it come from? Where are you getting the chassis motor from? It came from Tom, TS Design, who is on the Discord and the other places. He does not sell commercially anymore. But yes, chassis motor will be Oxford Dean Goods chassis and motor. Look at that, you're getting a real good view of my camera now, aren't you? So, you know, this is not one for the Great Western fans who are going to see me now take an Oxford Dean Goods. Hello, Tom. Welcome to Lurking. I'm glad you're here. I'll probably, you know, you can watch me mess up your kit several times. I'm sure I will. But yes, it's not one for the Great Western fans who are going to watch me take a perfectly good, brand new Dean Goods and throw away the body. Which apparently has screws to hold the tender on. I didn't know that. Hopefully it'll be a better O-Class than Dean Goods. I'm sure it will. Okay, it's the least interesting of liveries. It's clearly the best of the liveries, but it's not Great Western. That is a sight to behold. What, my live stream having a Great Western logo on it. You can use the body of the Dean Goods as scrap. No, I can't. Where would a scrap Dean Goods come from? In Brighton territory. But yeah, it's good how I show you this 3D printed logo, and the first thing I do is push it to the side to bring in a ready to run one, isn't it? France, and there wouldn't be a scrap one come from France to Brighton land. What I can do with the body is stick it on eBay. There we go, that's the bit we want. And I'm going to pick up that screw that I've dropped on the floor. Because you never know when a screw might come in handy. For its reason being took so long out of personal life, still looking for some awful platforms we sales and ship through, i.e. Shapeways, but less bad to the Terrier Fund. Yes, exactly. The important Terrier Fund. Might go to new layout fund as well, but you know, minor details. But it's not the first Great Western thing on here anyhow. No, is it not? I'll take your word for that. See, when arranging all this and sorting it all out, Tom very kindly printed me lots and lots and lots and lots of buffers. So I went and bought some sprung Hornby ones. Yeah, didn't think about that at the time, Tom. Otherwise I would have mentioned it. So yeah, this goes on here once its supports have been removed, and then it's all done. That's it, isn't it? Showways were less bad, would be a wonderful thing indeed. It would, James. Look at that NSE Terry. No. I will continue to say no to that. So yes, the best thing about 3D prints, getting all the supports off. It's oddly satisfying. Note this unrebuilding tariff. Game for life. Oh, the all buffers the correct pattern. They're the H-class buffers. NSE Terrier does not and never will be a command. Yeah, I got 2 packs of H-class buffers so I can have the small heads. Didn't mean for this to be a bit. Never mind, I knew it would become a bit. It's been a bit for a while. Trust me, you are not the first person to do NSE Terriers as a thing to wind me up. I was have to see if I can get something. My R class has background buffers, but I don't have it here to check. Yeah, they look like background buffers to me. But yeah, I was discussing it with Linny, who suggested these. So they're the H-class buffers, which come as one set with big heads, one set with small heads, because the H-class has big-headed buffers on the back. So I've got 2 packs. Now I've got enough buffers. The other way, one might imagine an IEG 33 for IEG 3. I don't think either of them would look good in IEG. I think if you wanted them in a Brighton livery, Umber would be the one to try, but I'm not convinced that would look good on them. It'd certainly look better than IEG would. Got to be as much support material here as there is loco. More support, less support. Well, yes, obviously. It's not a criticism. Just an observation. Didn't realise it was so easy to remove that stuff. I thought one would need a knife or something. I've ripped things off their supports on stream before. It breaks really easily. Could you reuse the plastic from the support? To do what? Supports make nice pipework for an industrial scene. Well, there we go. There's a use for them. In theory, yes, but also for me, no. But yeah, there we go. There's the boiler cleared. Right, I think it's just the bits in the cab now. This talk of inappropriate labour is giving me bad Norfolk Southern Heritage Unit flashbacks. Yes, but might have been under my layout when you did it last. Yep, fair enough, James. Either that or it's just been a while. Because it has been a while. There we go, there's the cab cleared. Inappropriate liveries are the second best sort of liveries. Yes, second to appropriate liveries, obviously. And look, there we go, just like that we have an O-Class. Isn't it fantastic? And there is the bot asking you to smash that like button or give it a gentle tap. And all those other nice things that like buttons and subscribe buttons and general YouTube likes. So go do those things. Crimson 8F. See, that's not too bad. Not very well. Good evening, Alexander. I am very well, thank you. How are you? So we may need more hydration. You are quite right, James. It has been extremely warm. Proof of an O-Class. Bluebell has one. Bluebell has an O1, which is rebuilt with Wainwright cabin stuff. Looks more like a C-Class. Oh, look at all this hidden away detail that we're uncovering. I do like these kits that sit on an existing chassis. It does make life easy, doesn't it, if they go on an existing chassis. Although this one doesn't just sit there, I believe I need to modify it slightly. That's right, so I've got here's one he made earlier, one of these chassis sat next to me from Tom. Very well, thanks. Went to Great Central and Bluebell last weekend. This weekend, Portrait Chef Park on Saturday and Spa Valley today. Fantastic. That all rain and hot night seems appropriate for this weather. I do believe you've told me to do that before. The problem, of course, being I forget. Because, well, have you met me? I forget everything. And there we go. We are free of support on the main part of the tender as well now. With a Lima 4F that is inaccurately read, that tells me it wants to be SDJR Prussian Blue. Oh, it will look good in that. I assume that's one of the O gauge ones, Andy. Yes, I thought that cab looked different. Indeed, this is the as-built cab, which seems a lot more appropriate as a loco for Oak Hill. Oak Hill currently has a C-Class. But why would I want a C-Class? Really? On a small rural branch line? When the C-Class is basically new. An aging O-Class, still in SER livery, looking a bit grubby, seems much better. Let's look, how can you tell that you're removing support, not detail? Guessing. That's better than what my first 3D printed loco looks like. Well, this isn't Tom's first 3D printed loco. There's the secret. But it's not even Tom's first 3D printed O-Class. His R is very nice though. We're going to be having a look at that and doing some painting and transfers for that at some point in the near future. I might do a video on making transfers when I do the transfers for this. Yes, O-Gauge, excellent. Even though, sorry, Mr. Harris Jazz Club, I had to deal with a son with a fever. Oh, that's not fun. I hope he recovers soon. C1 might be a thing for Oak Hill. Yes, definitely, at some point. But this is much better as a loco for the Southeastern and Chatham side than the C-Class. As James pointed out a little while ago, though, hydration is important, especially on days like today. Yeah, we got these bits for the tender. I was trying to think of the word. Couldn't. Failed. These bits. I'm sure I said something about forgetting things. I forget. You see. It sounds good. Good to me. A variety of goods traction indeed. And I say it's much more appropriate for a small rural branch line than a brand new C-Class. And it really would be nice to get the locos for Oak Hill in order. Homo transfer is something that I'd be very interested in future outside frames. Frames, there's the word, yes. Well done, Kevin. I'm glad I have viewers to tell me the words to things when I can't remember them. So, in exciting Southeastern and Chatham news, for those that don't know, but Rails of Sheffield have started dispatching the D-Class now. Mine was a very, very late pre-order, having only gone in a few weeks ago. So mine is going to be one of the last ones to get dispatched, but I am already rather excited of the prospect that it is potentially on its way very, very soon. Service. Tinder has been framed. Not yet, it hasn't. Now it has. Look at how well that sits in there. That's just fantastic, really, isn't it? And we have springs, because these tenders have their springs above the footplate. A feature I've always rather liked. I broke that one, so it's a good job there's 6 and a spare, isn't it? If I do this lot with the knife, I'm not going to break the fragile parts. He says, hopefully. No, I broke that one as well. Never mind, everything can be repaired. As the poor triangle 3F that I've stuck somewhere is going to find out. Now cuts could also be a good investment for the small bits. Yes, that sounds like a wise idea. See, the problem is that whilst my workbench is really good, my makeup bench isn't quite as good. Might pop by the Eastbourne shop in a week. I've been meaning to for a long time. Excellent. You definitely should. We have a lot of very nice second-hand stuff in at the moment, and I'm nearly done with repairing everything and getting it all out. In fact, the only things left at the shop waiting for repair are things I don't know what I'm going to do with. There's an LNER something or other tender engine in BR black, with the only tender I have to go with it is an A4 tender in garter blue. It's an 060 something or other in BR black. Right, I'm going to give the back of these a quick gentle rub on the file, just to make sure I get the last of the support material off. Yeah, I'd stick with Southern. It's a good choice. I've got a second-hand M7, a Battle of Britain, a Schools. I've got some carriages. I've got a 4-car EMU. Send a picture in Discord, might be able to identify it, or send it to someone who can. I mean, I could identify it by Googling the number that's on the side of the cab. But I don't even know that I'm going to put it up for sale. So, or not like repaired and working as a loco. It might just go in a spares and repairs bin because it's a tender engine with no tender. Right then, we need to repair that with the super glue. Does your shop stock N-gauge? We do, and I am waiting for a delivery of it after someone came and bought pretty much my entire N-gauge section. I was not complaining. And there is a link to my Twitter account where I sometimes post pictures from the shop. You can see lots of my LNER stuff on the Twitter pool. Some customer somewhere is doing well. I imagine your boss wasn't complaining either. Well, yes. Well, at the same time, it'd be nice to leave some for the other customers. Do you know what has been sat on the shelf the longest? A lot of the LNER stuff has only just come in, like, within the last couple of weeks. In fact, most, if not all of the LNER stuff has come in the last couple of weeks. There is slightly more than what's on the photos because I've got a Bachmann shelf with all the Bachmann stuff on it. Because if you have a proper Bachmann display board, use it for Bachmann stuff. Can one order online from your shop yet? No, I have not had time to sort out the website yet. I tend to feel sorry for models who've been there a while and buy them. Oh, it's a good thing to do. Yeah, so the thing that's been there the longest is definitely my 7-car APT set. That definitely needs you to feel sorry for it and buy it. Let me know when that is a thing. I will indeed. I will be very loud about it being a thing. There will also be international shipping, yes. Something thing might be worth mentioning on one of Jennifer Coutts' live streams. That would require me mentioning something on one of her live streams. I mean, you can always email the shop and ask us what we have. Not that I particularly want to give out the shop's email address. It's rather embarrassing. Gmail address still. Right, now that that's a bit more cleaned up, time to cut off designed in parts. There we go. Got it. No Nem pocket for me. Was the shop carry Oxford diecast Engage? We do not often. I've not ordered any new Oxford diecast stuff since being there because I have sold no road vehicles whatsoever. I do, however, have an account with Oxford and can get anything from their catalogue. At a good price, obviously. So I'm buying the hearse, and since I'm having a cemetery on my way out, that's a shame. That is indeed a shame. Believe the hearse is out of stock at Oxford. Well, that's no fun, is it? I have no idea what Oxford diecast stuff I have in at the shop. I have sold nothing from their range. Right. I don't see a lot of modification having been done to the chassis, Tom. So something on one of our live streams, discussion was about live streams that are worth watching. I mentioned something that is streamed on a Sunday evening. Well, thank you very much. That is very much appreciated. And welcome, Steve Bray. Thank you for the subscription. Hopefully you are watching here or not watching another video. Really appreciated though. Subscriptions are excellent. Ah, I see a modification. Here, this bit needs to come off. Right, my present for today's streams. Greetings from California again. Welcome, Ginty. How are you doing? I hope you are well. No, chassis unmodified apart from the clip removing the top of the motor. The clip removing off the top of the motor and the tender connection bypassed. Excellent. Excellent. I remembered you mentioning there was some slight things to do. And if that is all I have to do, that is excellent. I don't know if you got that. Watching and learning. Brilliant. Welcome. I hope you are well. It is always nice when that subscriber alarm goes off midstream. I always love that. You know, I thought this is only going to take 2 seconds to saw off. I won't bother putting the handle on. I probably should have put the handle on. May have sound off some corners here and there, can't remember. It doesn't look like it. Lag? Oh no, is anyone else getting lag? Oh yeah, I've got some notifications this end of dropped frames. Streamlabs fault. Eyes and fingers, Gary Bot. Eyes and fingers. James is correct, of course. Never saw like this. I am a seasoned professional at cutting my fingers off. Fever. Well, you don't really need them. Oh, I do need them. They're very important to me, my fingers. That's why I grow them back every time. Careful with the wires. Ah, I can replace wires. That's easier than growing back fingers. Because I don't want to get in the space they're supposed to go in. I love reconnecting universal joints. It's one of my favourite things. It's so amazing. There we go. This one's easier than Hornby ones, I'll tell you that. So now that I've irreversibly modified this Oxford logo on camera, now we figured out how the bit of the back slides in first. I noticed that on the R. I can't say I'd noticed it on this one. Something was catching. It sounds like it's... Oh, I see what's snapped off there. So something was catching. It probably still is, because that was the bit that this slides into coming off. But anyway, now that I've irreversibly damaged this Oxford Dean Goods on camera, should I have tested it first? No, I'm not simply on the motor. Yeah, I assumed as much. It looks like you've filed off these corners on your one. Or at least filed them down somewhat. Improved. Yes. But seriously, now that I've improved this Dean Goods live on camera, probably should have tested it first, shouldn't I? Of those clips that were holding the wires in place. And your right bot, hydration is important. Yeah, those letters make sense. I'm thinking we shall remove this and stop this getting and stop the wire and getting in the way. Ah, right. Track left, track right. That makes sense now. The letters do make sense, everyone. Aren't you glad? So, let's fire up the soldering iron. I'm tempted to give it my last DCC chip, but I'm not sure where I'm going to put the DCC chip. It might actually be easier to thread it through to the tender. And there's no might about it, is there? It will be easier to thread it through to the tender. That can come later. There we are. Well, now it definitely doesn't run. But also we've got rid of large amounts of cable that were in the way. Dot of super glue in and spread along the bottom. And that'll hold the motor in place as well whilst we're at it. I think we're sitting down properly now. Usually I'd have something here that I could check the buffer height against. Those buffers look too high. But everything seems to line up. And it could well be that Hornby's buffers are low, let's be honest. I think we're okay. I think. So, the next thing we're going to do, chop Tom's buffers off. Sorry, Tom. And replace them with some sprung ones. They are lower. That's a good point. Take the cab off before I drop it. No, the R's the same height. Yeah, the R's fine next to it. Well done, Tom, for being a genius. I suppose I should put it on the chassis properly, shouldn't I? Yeah, R's the same height. Now that it's on the chassis properly. So yeah, we will saw the buffers off in a way that I'm not gonna lose my fingers. There's the file. We can clean those cuts up a bit now. There's only so much clean up you can do when a big chunk of the bottom came off. silly thing. Well, that's no good. That bent instead of marking those. Obviously, I can't use that as a centre punch. That's better. And now I'm going to start with a really small drill bit, just to get pilot holes in. Me actually lifting. If you plan on drilling through, be very careful of raising really brittle shafts. Start a really small bit and go up several sizes. Look at Tom preempting what I'm explaining. Starting with a really small bit to get the pilot hole in. A small bit that's gone at an angle. And in fact had bent slightly. Good evening, Heritage Railway Productions. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. There we go, that one's through. I'm very well, thank you. Hope you are as well. I am indeed rather too warm and slightly sunburned, but well. That is 2 small holes started. Oh, you've got a foot. That's why I was getting rid of you. You're snapped. I was wondering why I had another drill bit the exact same size sat next to me. You saw nothing. we go. See, I've not completely destroyed it yet, Tom. I do believe we need one more size increase before these will go in. But let's check that. Oh yes, definitely. There's my bits box. And there's a link to the website. Yay, we have a website. One day. I'll update the blog on there. Actually post something. My writing time recently has been taken up by some magazine articles. And code. I don't think this is quite big enough. Let's check. No, so we will need one more slightly larger drill bit. Approve of magazine articles? Yes, magazine articles are good. You'll be glad to hear I have 2 articles coming up in the Brighton Circle Modelers Digest, due out this month. So lots of reading. I believe this is the last size we want. Yes. The digest is indeed great, Andy. You are correct. No, that was too much. Which is weird, because that's barely a size increase over the last one. But never mind. These things happen. Always 1 minute behind. Yes, but that would require me to get some, James. I'm aware reamers are my friends. Let's try even less of a size jump on this side. I do believe the problem is I'm just getting too close to the edge. And I think it would snap regardless of what we used at this point. But never mind, worse things have happened. Good evening, Thomas. How are you? I hope you are well. That is our hole recircled. Aren't you suffering digestive cravings? So you best get some digestives then. Ha ha! Buffer! I do like this kind of cab. Yes, the Sterling cab is very nice, isn't it? And hello, Red. How are you? I've already had 10. Granted, they're fair shape, but yeah, clearly you have not had enough. Otherwise, you wouldn't still be craving them. That's how these things work, Thomas. Have more. Say whoever designed it did a sterling job. Oh dear. It's lovely unless you're the footplate crew and it's raining. Well, yes, there is that aspect of it. Okay, how are you doing? I am very well. Too hot, but well. I think we'll leave that up a bit to set a bit nicer. Of course, you see though, everyone, the good thing is if things go really, really bad, Tom printed me a buffer beam. Or I could make one out of plastic art. Just realised it never registered. Most of my first message was meant to say evening all. I did wonder if it was meant to be a slightly longer message than just E. Oh, we're all going to say E in the chat now. We actually don't need to do that, just in case you're wondering. And I'm sure some of you were. So, what's everyone up to this evening? Whilst I try and slowly work my way through some very brittle resin. No, there's the snap. I knew it was coming. Electronic soldering marathon. Excellent. Didn't realise they did marathons with soldering irons, but there we go. Building 12 servo controlling circuit cards. Only 12? Does it not need to be 26 for a marathon? Tinkering about with a CAD program. Tinkercad by any chance? Because clearly that is the appropriate CAD program to be tinkering about with. Me, no hands productions, Ryan, I'll see someone cool at the moment. They are drawing. I'm thinking about how I'm going to do a 3D printed thing. Fair enough. Currently, I'm sitting in the workshop part of my room watching this stream while attempting to research the possible station plans for Burkham. Excellent. Notice, Red, how you're the only person that mentioned that you're watching the live stream. I've already built quite a few, and this is the final batch for the engage. Have you built 26? Because clearly 26, there we go. That's the rest of it gone. Again, I knew it was coming. But never mind. This is what happens when you're me and decide you have to modify kits and stuff. Searching archives of logo drawings whilst having this on as background noise. Ooh. Any in particular drawings that you're looking for? Any R stuff and things. Fair enough. I managed that method of getting iPhone board to carry on with Morton Key as well. Fancy paying Q £30 for delivery, so I'm going to help me with it. Excellent. That is good. Scheduling apparent busy, upcoming week, and watching the stream. I approve of watching the stream, and I actually approve of busy weeks as well. I like a busy week. I'd rather be busy than not doing anything. Anything I find quirky or cute. Fair enough. Now for the bets on how much buffing will be glue. Oh, so if it gets too much, I'll just replace them. It's not the end of the world. I do have a whole other loco body. Most day I've been doing more Warhammer stuff, and that job lot isn't going to kit bash itself. Excellent. And home. Wahey for home. I approve of finally making it home. Now we've added chippy supper. There's no way else cooking at this time of night. No, I very much approve of having a chippy instead of cooking at this time of night. Although saying that, I've got a new cooker arriving tomorrow. So if the first chance I get to cook is this time of night tomorrow, I will still cook something because new cooker. How could I not? Let me check I didn't put the wrong one of these away. I did not. Don't suppose you're thinner, are you? No, you're apparently thicker. Proper Scotch chippy, battered haggis supper with a tin of iron brew. Well, that does sound rather Scottish. You haven't just spent 4 hours on a 1.5 hour journey. Well, no. I did once spend 11 hours on a journey to Scotland, which is definitely not an 11-hour journey. What was wrong with your old cooker? The grill died. Plus, new kitchen. Like, you know, I've just had the ceiling done in the kitchen and everything. I'm not having that done because I'm not redoing the kitchen. Partly the ScotRail guard strike, partly people lurking around in train, and partly not the taxi not showing up when it was booked to. That's a long list. Disapprove strikes, also disapprove of dead grills and tread kills. Yes, I disapprove of dead grills. The kids have already made a list of things that need grilling that they want. As soon as the new cooker arrives. That sounds delicious. The haggis, not the guard strike. Oh dear. I don't think you needed to clarify that. I'm not going to recognise you as my next visit. That's kind of the idea, yeah. I'm doing it all for you, Linny, so that you don't recognise it. Did you not know that? I want you to be confused. Have you tried stepping up from a smaller bit to a big one? This is the next size up from the one I was using. So I've only gone up one size of bit. New living room, new studio, new kitchen. I know. Shit's Peter says all Oxford's J27s are already sold out. That doesn't surprise me. Well, out of stock. Yeah, that's what I assumed you meant. Almost. And there it goes. I bet that little bit I just shaved off was enough as well. Now I'm going to have to find where that bit went because it flew into me. Oh dear, it flew into a couple of pieces. Yeah, that's no good. Really need to buy a pin vise. There you go. $3mm drill bit. The pin vices are too small. I'm going to refill the hydration vessel. Oh, I retract my statement then. Yeah. We need to buy a bigger pin vise. Yes. That's a better way of wording it. I've not usually had to use drill bits this big by hand. Usually once I'm up to this size I'm using the electric drill, but I'm definitely not doing that with resin or at 10:30 at night. Hydration is important. It's so frustrating when the chuck does not zero out. Exactly. I think this one, the bigger of the two that I've got, is a 1.5mm maximum. Having some bigger ones would be great. I would not complain. Iron Brew counts as hydration, right? It does indeed. Matt and Buffs, it's 9 foot, a 2mm shank. Odd that the Hornby ones are so big. Yeah, it is very odd that the Hornby ones are so big. They are. Not going to focus, and my thing's well out of reach and buried. So you see that the bit that sits inside the buffer beam is almost as wide as the actual buffer shank. Iron Brew is a potable liquid, therefore to me it counts. Yeah, I agree. With bits made for plexiglass work on resin better, they have a sharper angle of attack. Possibly. There's only one way to find out. My entire flat smells of damp steel. Oh, fun. Let's hope it at least isn't leaking anymore. And look at that, some donation links coming in from Linny. The key user of the donation links. No more water coming down from upstairs. Well, that is a good thing. There we are. Sprung buffers on the loco. Even if the tender needs some work. I think we should celebrate that by gluing them on. If I remember, I could just friction fit the backman buffers for my kit. Yeah, it's good when things work. Even all the buffers for kits I've done in the past, I've never had ones. Don't glue them yet. Okay, I won't. Linny's almost always right. Linny is almost always right. So we listen to Linny. And got woken up by the crash of the ceiling coming down next door's bathroom, which joins my bedroom. Fun. That just sounds so fun. I had to drill hundreds of holes in a 1.5 inch clear plexiglass panel, and the stress of that I still feel at moments. Suggest you paint the body shell and buffer beam first. I suppose I could. Have a nice clean line between scarlet buffer beam and maroon buffers. You're right, it would be good. See, buffer shanks are Indian red. I believe buffer beam brighter. See, this is why we listen to Linny, because Linny is almost always right, and in this case, is right. But yeah, so let's just look at how absurd these Hornby buffers are. Let's open one of these packs of Markets buffers I've got. Pretty standard sprung buffers, Markets. That's a crazy amount of movement in there. How far that droops down because it's too big, because the hole's so big on it. Silly Hornby. Then, if we do that really well, just like that, you'd never even know I'd open it. Look, the staple's still going right through, and it goes through the bag and everything. You'd never even know I'd opened it up. Water running down my hallway walls, flowing over my electric meter. Very suboptimal. Yes, very suboptimal. Sounds bad in shades of the movie Parasite. Not one I've seen. No, I've not seen that either, and from what I've heard, it's one that I don't want to see. Oh, there's a bit of support down there. My foot. There's many bits of support down there stuck to my foot. So I do believe what we're going to do here, cut this buffer beam off and replace it. I think you're right there, Linny. If we can replace it with this one, that would be great, because it's got the rivet detail and stuff on it. If we can't, we'll make a new one out of plastic card, and it won't have the rivet detail on it, and that will be a shame. Either way, we will do it. It's on the safety valve rock run. Yes, yeah, that is. I wasn't sure at first, but once you said it, I was like, yeah, obviously. There we go. Let's listen to the bot. Hydration is important. And remember, never, ever, ever cut like this. This is me showing you how not to do cutting. Everybody seems to lean home. Had a bit too much hydration. Hydration not approved for homes. I quite agree. Yes, I do not approve of leaks. Evidently, my leak that happened all those years ago is finally sorted completely now. Because as well as having the kitchen ceiling replastered and stuff, I have had that wall repaired. Neatly for demo. Yeah. Tip, chainmail gloves for your friends when using a razor saw. They sound a bit heavy. There we go. You say leak, I say water inlet hose came off the back of the washing machine upstairs. Blooming heck. I don't approve of that either. But yeah, we now live in a weird world where after all that trouble that my plumbers caused in the past, I no longer have a hole in my living room wall. And it's weird. Proof walls without holes, they are great. Hello, the railroad guy. How are you? I hope you are well. No hole in the living room wall. How you reach the water valve? That the water valve is inside trunking, not in the wall. Sometimes holes in walls are good to send trains through. Not when they're a hole that is just actually a bit of plaster that's come down. Through walls without holes, or at least without unintentional holes. Yes. Pretty good. It's Ben, by the way. Of course it is. I remember now. Welcome, Ben. So, this one depends on your definition of unintentional red. Because whilst the hole had been filled in, it was originally a hole in the wall when the house was built. It was one of the vents for the hot air system that the house was built with. Which is why the plaster around that area was particularly weak compared to the rest of the wall. So when I had my leak, that bit came out. So yeah, technically an intentional hole. Why would anyone remove the hot air heating system? Much better than radiators. My parents have one of those. Yeah, but this wasn't modern hot air heating system. This was 1960s hot air heating system. So I thought my round file is about 3mm diameter. Oh, that's a good thought. Let me compare you to a round file. You know what? My round file is about 3mm diameter. But it does mean making a hole all the way through this support material. Well, removing the support material. My parents have a 960s hot air heating system, albeit the heater has been replaced twice, once recently. Yeah, this was the hot stones system from the 60s when the house was built. But it was gone long before I moved in. Hot stones to heat the house. No, not night storage heaters. This was a single room that had heated stones How did the stones get... I don't know how it worked, honestly, James. You had a single room with your stones in, which is now a cupboard. Uranium type spicy rocks. No. One would assume there was some form of electric heat that warmed the stones, and then the stones did their stored the heat. But I do not know. I should also point out that that this system only heated the downstairs. When the house was built, there was no heating upstairs at all. There was an electric storage heater of doing, quite possibly. That's what I assume it was, but I don't know. No heat, yeah, no heating upstairs. Look at that, Tom, you genius. What are people supposed to do in the winter? Use hot water bottles? I assume so. Hot air rises. It does indeed. And I would not be surprised if the person at the council who was commissioning these houses said that exact argument. Basically, the cheap electricity used at night to heat stones, then you have warmth during the day. Yeah, I assume that's what it is, but I don't know for definite. But yeah, that cupboard is in the hallway, and the heat went out through vents into all the downstairs rooms surrounding it. It did not go upstairs. My 70s flat doesn't have a heater in my bedroom. It's okay as a top floor, so we still heat for everyone below. I approve of stealing heat. And anyway, Joseph, you say nuclear powered house as if that's not a thing that we actually have. What do you think nuclear power stations are powering? And as Ofgem have just moved me to a provider who owns lots of nuclear power stations, I assume my house is now nuclear powered. I was with a company that only used wind and solar and tidal, but their money ran out. Top floor 95 built steam powered building. The heat does rise. Yeah, I'm sure it does. No, this room has no. This room is now the only room in the house that doesn't have heating, but it makes up for that by having the boiler for the central heating in it. I mean, you have your own nuclear reactor. I knew what you meant. I was just making the point that nuclear powered houses are very much a thing. There we go. Now we're going to use this and get somewhere much quicker. And there is a link to my Instagram. Check it out. I use it for promoting this live stream that you're watching. Really, Kids Book Once with the family had a volcano in the basement. I mean, that's one way of getting cheap heating, isn't it? And also dealing with your enemies. There we are. That buffer beam is now able to have buffers, which is helpful. What else it needs to be able to have is couplings. And I am quite sure that the coupling holes in these are not going to be big enough for Smiths, which makes total sense because Tom doesn't use Smiths couplings. Has anyone been watching the YouTube videos about the Icelandic volcano? I have not. Do enlighten us. Head knocking out, catch up with how it goes tomorrow. Okay, thank you for coming by, Tom. I hope I haven't made you wince too much destroying your wonderful kit that you made. I am rather enjoying the build so far. I shall speak to you tomorrow. Good night, sleep well, don't work too hard, and all that jazz. Well, there's a volcano in Iceland, and there are YouTube videos about it. It's quite interesting. Lots of lava. Fair enough. I approve of informative videos. And, you know, lava is... I would say it's quite cool, but it's not, is it? It's rather hot. And now we're going to do that professional modeler for... Oh, God. Not off. Getting the cutting mat out. The cutting mat is currently living on top of the bin for lack of a better place to put it. The bin, of course, being a cardboard box. So it was covered in support material. Yeah, that's what I wanted to happen. I love it when this knife does that. So much. There's something stabbing my finger. I assume it's resin. So fun. There we go. And now we can get the coupling hook through. So sprung buffers and scale couplings. It'll be wonderful. I don't know why I've put that away when I need to do the one on the front of the logo as well. Right, now that that's marked, I can actually, I should leave it out, shouldn't I? And make sure once it's through. And the things I do for scale couplings, eh? Let's save that bit because that's the bottom of the buffer beam. So how's everyone getting on with their projects? We had a few new people join as well since I last asked. So do let me know what you're up to. It's always good to hear what you're up to and how you're progressing with it. Still soldering resistors. That has stayed in place. Now I can put this away. And put a dab of glue. There we go, tiny amount of glue there. Enough that it'd rather get stuck to my finger than the model, but isn't that what super glue is for? And there we go. So that is both buffer beams suitably modified. This one now needs to be attached to this. So I need to cut off the old one, get the new one on, and we will all be happy. I wouldn't drop stuff. Oh, that's my tape. Here we go. James, I am de-Stroudley-ifying a Hornby six-wheeler. Interesting. Here we go, James. Do I have enough? That's 7 strips there. Which are most likely strips of 100. They look about the right length for 100. Yes or no to you too, Jaden Brooks. Welcome. How are you? I hope you are well. Fitting in handrails sets, figuring out how to fit lower footboards. Interesting. I've resistors. That is quite a few. Jaden Brooks. Yes. Resistance is futile. Haha. So, since Linny bought them up, I acquired this the other day. I'm going to be very de-Stroudley-ifying that. Resistance, vacuum pipes, terriers. Who wins? Oh, well, terriers always. What are all those resistors for? Resisting things, mainly. That they were found, I was asked if I wanted them. I said, why not? Wine LNER carriage, it was available. It will be losing its body shell completely. There'll also be vacuum pipes and brakes. Good point. You were, hey. Lots of things. You see, there are some 3D printed kits out that use the Hornby six-wheel chassis. I have to decide which I want. Yeah, I agree, Alex. Well said. Lots of things which will make it literally helps the literally carriage diagram to start with. Well, yes. If not, whose kits are those? They are Bluebell Model Railway kits by Matt. I have to decide the key decision I have to make for that carriage now is, do I want it to be an LBSCR 6-wheel perishable van, or do I want it to be a South Eastern Railway saloon? And I do believe the answer is yes. I want it to be both of those things. So obviously that means I'll have to buy another one. This is why you don't mess up your buffer beams. There we go. Take that bit out and it can't get in the way of the coupling either. But yeah, I'd certainly be interested in the thoughts of the audience as to whether they would like to see me working on a Brighton perishables van or a South Eastern Railway saloon. As I'm sure some of you know by now, your opinions can genuinely affect what I buy. When you have an SCCR saloon, you have been doing a lot of SCR stuff lately. You are correct, I do, and I have. Look, it's here. Right, for perishables, you already have a saloon. I mean, long term, I want both of them. But short term, I only have one chassis. You can then invest in some 3D printed bananas to go in the van. Yeah, oh, I could. Oh, I won't, but I could, you're right. Help if I put it on the right way round. I think we are there. The question is now, will these go in? No. Press plan sounds more useful to day-to-day running. You're right, it probably is. LBSCR is always wonderful. You are definitely right, it is. Yep, now there's nothing behind those holes. That's that sorted. I'm going to get rid of this mat that's now covered in lots of white powder, some in very nice straight lines. That can go over there. And remember that hydration is important. I'm going to move the camera over a bit. And then this can get glued. So hiding 3D printed deadly tarantulas in the bananas. Was that the purchase van was originally designed for the Hornby sausage van chassis? I do believe it is, yes. And he's recently redone it. Along with a lot of kits. A lot of his stuff is getting redone recently for home printing. Bananas have to be slightly radioactive. Well, of course they do, because they're bananas, and all bananas are slightly radioactive. It would be very wrong if they weren't, and now we're back to nuclear-powered houses. And hot stones in the cupboard. Welcome to Full Circle Hill. Next thing I'm going to do is see if these nice bearings will drop straight in these holes. Which I'm sure they will. Of course they will. But let's make sure it's the case of all of them. 15 measure as an average banana, I believe. I do not know. I have no idea how radioactive a banana is. I just know that they are. So you know how I'm always super prepared for everything and never forget anything. Of course you all know this. I have no idea what size wheels the O-Class tender takes. Everyone on the planet is slightly radioactive. Where do you think background radiation comes from? Well, true. They make a single wildly small in environmental and medical terms. The radioactivity of a truckload of bananas is capable of causing a false alarm when passed through a radiation portal monitor used to detect possible smuggling of nuclear material at US ports. That is rather interesting. I did not realise they had enough to do that. Yeah, of course, I'm going to have to cut this down, or file this down slightly now. By about the same amount as I filed back the supports inside the tender to get the new buffer beam in. It's an interesting world in which we live, is it not? It is indeed an extremely interesting world in which we live in. Today, good night, all stay safe. Good night, Paderborn. Sleep well, don't work too hard tomorrow. If anyone asks why you're not working hard enough, you can blame me. It's fine, I don't mind. Makes sense given how much the sun gives off the radiation in space. Sounds amazing if you listen to the recordings from the Voyagers. Indeed, I have done. And there we are. One tender. Part of the reason why metal from pre-World War II shipwrecks is so valuable. Yes, indeed. Hydration is important. There we go. It's an O-Class. Looks good, doesn't it? It's been exposed to high power radiation. The bombs have gone off, so it's called low background steel, which is used for making sensitive radioactive measuring devices because it doesn't skew the results as much as more modern steel. Those are facts I knew. Look at me being a big brain. whale song is beautiful. I can't say I've ever been to a whale concert though. Perhaps I should. There is still some very visible ridging from the support along the edge of this. That's better. So, I think it's time we got the springs on. The foot plate is nicely marked with where they go. So that makes things quite a bit easier. Or should I? Linny, would I be making my life easier if I left the springs off until after I had painted and lined it? I can't remember whether the SER lining goes behind them. Have you ever tried whale song since you sleep? It works for a lot of people. I have not. You would, yes. Right, in that case, we will not stick the springs on just yet. It looks like, in fact, the next thing we want to do, I believe that's why they're left off. You're probably right. You are probably right. So, I believe the next thing we want to do then is to chuck some paint on it. No, we want to get the wheel, to get the tender built, except the springs. But I still don't know what size wheels I need, and I've got lots of wheels down here. Tar muchly for the picture, Lily. They're all wagon wheels. You want to check your Discord DMs, will show you how the line works. Yes, that is where the thank you came from. Because I saw that. Yeah, what size wheels do we want? Who's got Russell handy? Because I forgot to look it up. Have you considered the Dean Goods tender wheels? Are they they have the wrong axles. They do not have pinpoint axles. But if they're the right size, I can at least compare them to what I have in stock. But yeah, they'd be no good to me without, as they are. Russell says 3'9". What's 3'9" in? I want to be going with about 12, like 15 mil, yeah. 15 mil. Almost like I came prepared for this. Carl, you're rather knackered looking, but you are what I'm after, aren't you? Let's go with 3 of these because they're all from the same set, rather than including the outsider. Eventually, I will sort out my wheels. But right now, I just have bags and bags and bags and bags and bags of wheels. Let's give these a quick polish. Because they're rather tarnished. Like you said, the Oak Hill platform sign. Yes, I have every intention of that going on the new layout. I also really want to put a model of a phoenix somewhere on the new layout. You know your wheels are tarnished when there's actual clouds of stuff coming off them. I don't know if you can see the clouds, but it does look quite cool. Bit of lag, yeah. Well, we dropped a few frames there. Hopefully we're back to normal. I'm not happy with all this frame dropping that Streamlabs is doing. We've dropped 514 frames over the course of the stream. Which is 0.2% for those wondering. Remember the alternative trick, you get glass fibres in your fingertips? Yes, a very good tip that is too. There it is. Make sure we haven't pushed them in too much. It's always annoying when it happens. Yes, very annoying. Hopefully it won't do it too much. Or ever again once BT get the fibre installed. I haven't missed dealing with Streamlabs. But it's a wonderful bit of software. I love it so much. I look forward to how it now puts a notification up for their paid-for services every time I load it in a banner right across the top of the screen that makes my preview smaller. So I have to actively click away from it to get rid of it. I love how it does that. And so many other great features. Oh, nice. Yeah, it's very nice, Alex. It's an amazing new feature. I'm so glad they added it. I suppose the centre set I should really compensate somehow, shouldn't I? I wonder if I've got any flat-ended axles the right size. This one has loose axles. Let's check. Look at these top quality driving wheels I've got. They'll get your loco going, definitely. Now with realistic rust colour. Oh, well, you're not a double O axle, are you? You are, though. Are you planning on modelling Barry's scrapyard? I think I should with all that, shouldn't I? There we go. Now we've got a set without pinpoint axles. I'd like to point out that they're so rusty that the bag has gone rust coloured. I have no idea what make of wheels these are either. They've got brass bearings in the centre of the wheel and are completely round. because my first thought on rusty wheels is always Gibson or K's, but they're neither of those. Good evening, SER235. How are you this evening? I hope you are well. I am going to refill the hydration vessel quickly before we carry on. Because it's looking empty and I'm feeling like I need it to not be. So remember, hydration is important. So there we go, the centre wheel set can come out for the tender for now. Yes, that sits very nicely with them in there. And they are nice and free rolling. So the next step, of course, is to get some glue on there. And then we will be really starting to resemble an O-class. Is it going into SER? It is going into SER black with red lining. I still need to find someone who can do me SER number plates and also pick a number for it. I have, however, got generic red lining ready to go. And there we are, an O-class, after just an evening's work. She looks rather good, doesn't she? I haven't lost that other buffer, that's okay then. Obviously there's a lot more to do to it still. Driving wheels with the brass sensors are, I think, handlings. Oh, okay. I had no idea. Don't think I've seen any like that. Looks great, very O-classy. Yeah, she's going to be fantastic on Oak Hill, isn't she? She will be the resident SECR goods engine. The spokes are moulded in Bakelite. Wow. Those bits aren't rusty, just in case you're wondering. But yeah, she shall be Oak Hill's resident goods in grubby looking SER black, designed by Mr. Stuart Reedpath. Aha! Very nice. Proper classics then. So we have now definitely reached the point in the build where it would be time to start chucking some paint on it. I do think this one would benefit from some primer though. There we go, look, she's even got buffers. Nice, you don't see that much of the original SER model. Numplate wise, I have access to some SECR ones which should be fairly easy to modify. Ha ha! I did not know that they were similar enough to do that. I've still not picked a number for her. But she's going to be fantastic when she's done. Crude up, real cold. Grubby looking because we're a few years post amalgamation. Better get some black paint on it so it's ready for next week. Yeah, but should I, or should I primer it? And no, you're right. I should get some paint on it. Let's get some paint on it. I was not expecting to be this far through this quickly. Okay, I was. There we are, black paint. She's had a wash, so in theory, the resin will take the paint. I'm going to put the pot back there. But I don't even know where my blue tack is. The upper shelf where I keep the blue tack has become really disorganised at the minute. Whilst I get some more shelves up in here. You might better adding handrails before painting though. Then again, you might better line in before the handrails. I was planning on doing handrails last. Not only because I think it might be better to line it without the handrails in the way, but because I have 2 handrail knobs and I cannot get any more. Everywhere seems to be out of stock of them. You have reminded me though, now that I've put paint on it, that I've got a blooming smokebox dart to add. Was the O resin printed? Yes, she's a resin print from TS Design, who unfortunately does not do commercial sales anymore. So it is a real shame. What length do you need? Yes. When I was going to buy them, I was going to buy some long, medium and short because I have nothing. And then I would expect short and medium for this. How many do you need? 8 medium. And 12 short. And I do believe that is enough. Doesn't sound right. You can tender handrails on that. Yes. There's 4 down the boiler on each side. 2 on each side of the smoke box and 2 on the front of the smoke box. And then 4 down each side of the tender. See, the thing is, Linny, I've never built one of these before. You have. So I'll take your word on it. And the handrails on the cab sides in line with the boiler ones. There's no holes for those. I only counted where I have holes, and I have no holes for those, so that's your answer to why they weren't counted. So yeah, I think the fact we've got this far through a kit, which we have modified ourselves, in a single live stream, shows how good 3D printing can be. Although obviously it always isn't. Complete random, I know, but I'm looking at a picture of the Oxford rail and so it looks like the BR versions don't have smoke box number plates, numbers look printed on the door, I think. That's rather odd. I'm shocked by this idea that something was tooled up for in a version that isn't perfectly suitable for BR. I'd expect it to be all of them have a number plate on the cab, and on some it's just blank rather than the other way round. I won't complain, obviously. Looks like only time that you could always have this as SEO number 1, an engine with 6 small wheels, short stumpy funnel and a short stumpy dome. Has no dome. Don't give me any of that. There's no dome on these. If they're printed on door, that makes backdating it to LNER much easier. That it does, yes. That was what surprised me. Got most of the paint off there. Let's go around the inside of those now. Go. I kept forgetting to do that after getting the paint off. Oh, do that. No, need to get some paint off first. Oh, I forgot and put more paint on. never trust toneless engines. Because Oxford never bothered doing the round top tool in the NL livery for some reason. Because they are annoying. I believe there should be a handrail on the cab sides. I will take your word on that, Lily. You know, we as I said earlier, we listen to Linny because Linny's almost always right. I need to try and remember to go through my stash at some point this week and see if I've got a round top back head that I can give this engine. Yeah, it zoomed in on the picture on rails and I'm convinced they are printing on the door. Anyway, back to the O. That is very interesting, Alex. The opposite of what I expect from manufacturers. Something out of GBLC class. I don't think I've got a spare one though. Have some photos and drawings, Mr. Oak. Why, thank you. 3D printing is brilliant until you wake up, leaving the printer to print a loco and find that the boiler looks like it exploded. Happened to North London Railway tank I printed recently. Ouch. Yes. I have as yet not used my 3D printer because I don't have good enough ventilation available for it at the moment. But I look forward to playing with it once I do. It shan't be long. Plus the resin I want to use is out of stock everywhere. As soon as I can get that, I'll order a nice big extractor fan and build it all in. I may have one I can pump your way. Aha, that would be excellent. There might be one too. I think there are photos on the Discord. Indeed, there probably are. Then we'll basically on that ventilation then. Yep. As I say, it won't be long. As soon as I've got this, as soon as I can get the resin that I want, because it's in stock, I will order a nice big extractor fan and get on with it. I'm just painting the bits on the inside that you are likely to be able to see. It ideally needs everything painting, but I'm not doing that tonight. And that will make, once that is done, it will make sure that no UV can get into anything and affect it. Oh no! It broke off the front of the frame. for tonight, I shall settle with painting little enough that I can still hold it. And of course, gently place it back on its chassis. Which resin do we have in mind that you mentioned? I can't think what it's called. Ian recommended it on my Discord the other day. I tend to just stick my printer in the corner, open up all the windows in the room and just not go anywhere near it till it's done. Yeah, easier said than done when you've got kids as well. I don't really have rooms I can leave for that long. I'll have a poke for that then. Yeah, so it's in there somewhere. Oh, I believe you can get it in the States at the moment. It's just in the UK you can't. If someone wants to deal with that and get it for me and ship it here and cover all the costs, then, you know, go ahead. I won't stop you. But yes, soon I shall have my printer up and running and I shall be printing Jenny Linds and other things. Ballast wagons. It'll be great. What 3D design software do you use? I use Fusion 360. I had tutorials for it. So it was very easy to get at and learn. I have found it very nice to use, and of course it is free. Other detailing parts. Oh yes, lots of detailing parts. I'm surprised SCR will still have logos, paint, old liveries knocking around. Always associate such things with the grouping era. It's quite possible they didn't by 1905. But at the same time, it took them a while to settle on some things, and I mean, it's a loco out on a back end of nowhere branch line. It'd be quite easy to forget about it, wouldn't it? Fair enough. I never got the hang of Fusion 360. Tend to stick with Blender and SketchUp. Yep, fair enough. I used some tutorials done by TS Design, who I say is the designer of this kit, over on his YouTube channel as my initial guide. I also had some input from asking people who use it, how do I do this? See, Alex, sometimes I say things that make sense. I mean, obviously the real reason it's going into SER livery is because I want variation. And I think it will look quite nice to have the old livery as a bit of variation. And besides, it's not like all my modelling is post 1900. Out of curiosity, why are you painting the buffer beans black? I am just giving it a coat of... I'm going to give the whole thing a coat of black inside and out, just to give the resin a full coat of paint everywhere, so that it's completely covered and doesn't have any issues with UV reaction in the future, as I have been told to do. Guess yes, I had natural disadvantage in the fact they were grouped at the very end of the Victoria and having to come up with a new corporate identity. Yes. Also having no money. Because of course the reason for the amalgamation was because both lines were going broke. You'd think they would have gone for something a bit simpler than Wainwright livery with having no money. And there we have an O-Class in black. Doesn't it look nice? We're just ignoring the fact the loco body is nowhere near on the chassis properly. How were the LBSC for repainting? Were there many IEGC locos still around close to grouping? The last IEG loco was repainted in 1917. Keep in mind that the livery had been superseded in 1905. Isn't half the point of pre-grouping so you can model non-black locomotives? Yes. What's your point? I like the variation of many liveries. And black gives me another variation. Black lined in red, very reasonably elaborately lined in red. Variety is the spice of life. It is indeed, James. Fair enough. That's marvellous. Thank you, Alex. Quite lovely. I agree. She is looking very lovely. Improved engine black. I wish I could get at my thing to give us a white background. How well will this cover everything up? I mean, it's slightly better. There we go. And the clock has just ticked to 23:59, so I think we shall probably be leaving it there. We just have time for one last lot of hydration, because hydration is important. So yes, I'd like to thank you all for being here. I've had a wonderful time building Tom's wonderful O-Class and getting it set up. We're getting some Discord link there from James. Do hop onto the Discord if you aren't already a member, and we can continue all conversations there. I have a lot of reading to go and get through. Good night. Very nice stream. Thanks, Gary. Thank you, Andy. Night all. Good night, Alex. So yes. Oh no, I've forgotten to put the other set of wheels back onto the tender look. There we go. Much better. Obviously they shall be secured in properly, probably next week. Night all night. Thanks for hosting, Gary. Okay, thank you everyone. As I say, we have reached the end, so yes, all that's left for me to say is thank you for coming. I've had a wonderful time. I hope you have too. I've been Gary. This has been Let's Build. You've been awesome as always. Good night.